You know how long we've been waiting for this moment? This is a video I've wanted to make for a really long time because it was just announced an hour ago that the Eglinton Crosstown LRT will officially open on February 8th, 2026. And man, it has been a really long, frustrating wait, but here we are. Now, as a lifelong local, I'm going to tell you my thoughts on this whole saga, what to expect, and hopefully lessons that we could learn for next time. So why don't we get into it, shall we? So let me just say that these past 14 and a half years have not been easy for all of us. This LRT will run from Mount Dennis Station in York to Kennedy Station in Scarborough with a total of 25 stops. And while this may be great news for Torontonians, I have mixed reactions. But I'm feeling all the feelings right now. So I lived in the borough of York my whole entire life, but in two different neighborhoods, both served by Line 5. Right now we are at Cedarvale Station, which is an interchange station connecting with the existing Line 1 subway, and of course the LRT, which is right behind me. This long wait has been obviously extremely painful and frustrating. This line's reputation has obviously been tainted. And I was 7 when they started construction of the line. I just turned 22 on Friday, and my 4th year of university. And it will be opening 5.5 years after its first projected completion date in 2020. Since then, there have been technical problems, missed deadlines, among other things, and because of them, the costs have dramatically ballooned so much, it's at $14 billion. It's one of the most expensive transit projects in the whole country. It's been rough for residents like myself and business owners along Eglinton, especially Little Jamaica, which is just west of here. And for riders like myself, using the Eglinton bus has been a total nightmare. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. Now, so when I was growing up, I lived in the Silverthorne neighborhood, which is also referred to as Keelsdale Eglinton West. And I lived not too far from both Keelsdale and Caledonia stations when they were still under construction, and now I live here. I've been living here for the past 16 years, even though I did split time between two neighborhoods, and I am an 8-minute walk from here at Cedarvale Station. And this line will obviously be very useful for me because I can go see my family easier, go to school and other neighborhoods that I haven't really been able to reach that often. There's going to be so many opportunities. However, just navigating along the whole corridor it really sucked. It just really did, right? I've been taking the 32 bus pretty much my whole life, and like I just said, it's been a total nightmare. It has suffered longer travel and wait times even after the construction. It's been really frustrating. Worst bus route in the city. So we're going to put the blame here, obviously, on Metrolinx because they are literally at fault for all the delays. For those that are not from here, Metrolinx is a crown agency of the government of Ontario that oversees building transit projects, and they are horrible. They took so long to get everything done, and in the last 3 years, they have not been transparent at all. They refuse to provide an opening date and refuse to share the problems plaguing the LRT. They made so many vague statements and false promises on the completion of Line 5. I'm so upset that the government hasn't held Metrolinx accountable for all these years and for the trouble they went into building this line, which has been sitting here completed for 2 years, but the public couldn't even use it. And we deserve answers into what went wrong because this project really went off the whole damn rails. And it just goes to show that using public-private partnerships don't work at all. There were lots of conflicts and disagreements between Metrolinx, TTC, and Crosslinx, the consortium that built the LRT, and those were also other reasons why this line was delayed. Now, politicians and transit planners are very cautious of giving construction companies and agencies credit because of their timeline, and this LRT proves to be an example of why transit can't be delivered on time. And we're not the only city to be dealing with this. Ottawa has had way worse problems than us, and they've ran into a lot of issues after this line opened, from switch problems, derailments, etc. And Metrolinx vaguely said that they were terrified that those same problems would happen here, and that it would be an embarrassment if it didn't have those problems after it opened. So they did not want this LRT to go through the same exact thing. And for the past 4 years, they just went with endless stress testing. So all these drivers have worked their ass off testing 24 hours, maybe not 24 hours, but pretty much every day and night. And I understand safety, but not willing to tell us why this line isn't open yet really pisses me off. We've been through a lot of hardship. The endless delays of the Eglinton Crosstown LRT stem from a combination of complex construction challenges, unresolved software, and system integration issues. And this project has been pushed back repeatedly due to these many flaws, and as well as the software bugs in train control and signaling systems have even further complicated the testing and safety certification, and of course tensions between Metrolinx and Crosslinx. And despite most of the physical construction being complete for many years now, critical elements like system reliability, station occupancy, and operator training, they all remain unfinished. And just to be safe, they did even more testing to iron out issues and to make sure problems like this don't happen after it opens. But also remember, Line 6 Finch West opened back on December 7th, and it has already suffered way too many issues. 350 delays were reported from that line alone, right? Operational issues, switch issues because of the cold weather, and mind you, we just had a huge blizzard yesterday. Slower speeds, lack of signal priority, and again, winter weather. So, should we be concerned for Line 5? I think we should, and I'll get to that in a moment. Last year in 2025 is when they gained a lot of momentum, and we were all very confident of the line opening that year. In June, they announced that they would open in September, and it sounded realistic, but September came and went with nothing because of minor issues. And then in the fall, they started their 30-day revenue service demonstration late, and it hit a snag when 2 trains collided at the Mount Dennis facility. While they were ramping up their RSD, they finally opened up 2 stations, this station here, Cedarvale, and Mount Dennis at the western end of the line, giving us a long-awaited preview of what the LRT would look like. Surprisingly, they did a very good job with the station, except for the unnecessary land use for these giant entrances to the underground stations, waste of land use, real estate space. However, there still wasn't a proper timeline, even though they kept saying it could still open in 2025. That was no longer the case, but it didn't really matter because Line 6 opened back, like I said, December 7th, and we all know how that went. But unfortunately, as a local, I jinxed it. I was way too overconfident. And do I regret being too overconfident? Maybe. Because this is a line that could have been open already. So many missed opportunities. Anyway, long story short, these endless delays were very preventable. When I was a kid, I saw them working on the stations every day. I was really looking forward to riding it when it was completed. However, for the past couple of years, these stations were just sitting here unused, awaiting passengers like myself of the the public. We spent billions of dollars for this to be built, by the way. But will this wait even be worth it? Because yes, they've went into a lot of trouble, but we've been fed up for so long. I guess we'll find out by February 8th if this wait will happen worth it, right? We already saw what happened with Line 6. Could Line 5 suffer the same problems? I don't know. I'm pretty confident that it might still run up to standards. That's because half of the line is underground. And that's between Mount Dennis and Laird stations. However, east of Laird is when the line travels overground in the middle of a street, so essentially running like a glorified streetcar. And what the city hasn't really gotten together yet is a transit signal priority. Yes, they're still working on it, but unfortunately we're going to have to be dealing with the lack of signal priority for I don't know how many months. But anyway, while the opening date might be good news, I'm just quite disappointed with how long it took to get here. Even when they hinted at when the line could open. I don't mean to be a downer, but that's just how I see things, right? For the last 2 years, like I said, was way too overconfident. Metrolinx had repeated false promises. they said they were on track to open the line in September of last year, but that didn't happen. It's because they did everything late. Metrolinx had an operations to the TTC for final testing and training back in June, and began driver training later than expected. I mean, over a year they've been, or actually more than that, they've been stress testing the whole line and finished their RSD, which is assimilating what literal passenger service would look like. And then they officially transferred it to the TTC back in December, and here we are, January 26, 2026, about to embark on another new chapter for Toronto Transit. Now, rapid transit has been long needed for Eglinton for decades. 30 years ago, they actually began construction of an Eglinton West subway line, but shortly after that, it was cancelled by the Ontario provincial government led by Mike Harris, and it's just mind-boggling. How could they just cancel construction on a subway line that was already under construction? That's just ridiculous. And then in the 2000s, Transit City was announced, which called for several LRT lines in Toronto, and it was revived. And like I said, construction started on the line in 2011, and here we are several years later. This line really should have been opened by now. And people are going to make fun of this line for the endless delays. For many years, people have been saying, they'll be very old when the line opens, or they'll pass away, or even when they have kids. 14 years is such a long time to build an LRT. And people have been questioning whether a subway would have been better. In my opinion, I don't mind this as an LRT, but a subway would have been preferred. And we also, like I said, we definitely should be concerned for Line 5, as we already saw what happened with Line 6, with its slower speeds and the lack of signal priority. We feared Line 5 would suffer the same thing, but like I said, the city is just taking their sweet-ass time just to implement signal priority and just make sure like everything is okay. So that was my script. It's going to be a huge difference for me in my life. Travel is going to be faster, but will it be faster than what we saw on Line 6? I don't know. It's hard to tell because they've already gotten so many things wrong with Finch West. But for Line 5, almost every time I take the Eglinton West bus, I just dread those moments, right? Instead of being stuck on a bus, we could be riding an underground LRT to bypass a lot of traffic and all this sort of stuff, right? The Eglinton West bus is one of the busiest bus routes in the city, along with the 34. But, they've had this February 8th date for not even too long now, right? Because they had like a private meeting where Metrolinx proposed December 28th, and then the TTC pushed back saying that they could open on February 8th, and then they just went with that. But that was according to sources. And then Doug Ford indicated that it would be officially February 8th. I am excited, but I'm disappointed with everything. The way they executed this project was a failure. Transparency, accountability, that was flushed down the toilet. And so, as a local that's lived here like pretty much all my whole life, I am not going to miss riding the Eglinton West bus. I just want to hop on this friggin' thing right now. They're going to take down the fences, right? The escalators are right there, leading down to the platform. But you think all's well that ends well? Hopefully. I really hope this thing will be a success for people like myself. I'm going to be using this thing every single freaking day. Now, let me tell you about my plans to document this line. So, again, for the past 6 years of YouTubing, I have just been following construction and progress of the LRT. So, I've had this plan in mind for several months now. I'm going to walk the entirety of Line 5 before and after opening. It's going to be in different phases though. For example, part one, I'm going to walk from Mount Dennis to Caledonia Station just one day, and the next day I'll walk from Caledonia to Oakwood and then so forth. So I'll walk the western part of the line before it opens, and then after it opens I'll walk the eastern part of the line to actually see passengers using the LRT. So hopefully this week, I know we're still digging out from a huge blizzard, but I really want to get it done as soon as possible because I want to share not only just my story, but also how the area has changed, how the LRT is probably going to spark, brand new development in the area and how it's just going to serve people in the future. Like it or not, this will be very special, and I cannot wait to bring all of this to share the world as a local. And yeah, so guys, let me know your thoughts and comments down below. I will add this to my playlist of Line 5 videos, and I'm going to try and get the walking videos up as soon as possible. We've waited a long time for this, man. A really, really long time. I know everybody in the comments are going to be telling me, oh, this is very exciting, oh, I'm so disappointed. I feel you. I feel all emotions. But in the end, this will still be a game changer. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see in the first few weeks how it plays out and how it's gonna run smoothly. But I swear to God, implement signal priority. Just do that. Same thing for line 6, and hopefully it'll be faster than what we saw with line 6. I know it'll be faster than the Finch West line. Or sorry, just riding the bus on Eglinton. But lots of changes to come to the bus network. I'm going to be making videos on the connecting buses. Obviously, I'll be here on opening day. I don't know if I'll be on the first train, though. I want to, but I know I'll be riding this line all day long. And I just can't wait. I just can't wait. So, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned, guys. February 8th. It's going to be a very exciting day in our history of Toronto Transit. Let's make this happen.